We'll move on to the Prem chat. So, I mean, I'm going to actually open a couple of windows after I ask you guys this question because I'm sweating in here. Just whoever wants to go first, just kind of take it away. Thoughts just so far in general of the Prem season. Who's impressed you, who's not, where you think the league's at, just your general thoughts of the Prem, and we can just kind of go from there to finish the last 20 minutes off. Go ahead.
Palace, fucking class. Like, so good to watch, by the way. Like, so much energy. Like, Gallagher, I think, is going to be some player, by the way. How old is he? Gallagher.
I'm not too sure how old Gallagher is.
So good to watch. So good. Box to box. Must be the fittest fucker ever, man. Doesn't ever look tired either. Palace right now, my favourite to watch. West Ham. Right. Just real quick on the Liverpool game, right?
Go ahead.
Watch that. West Ham tactically, I thought were fucking excellent. Like, this is the fucking scary thing though. This happened to us last year. A team does it. That's how you play against us. You defend. I've never seen a team so narrow in my life. The back four, like, no word of a lie, like, so narrow. Tactically, they were so good. I was so impressed. Set pieces, obviously, they're absolute machines. We knew that. The way that Fornals and Benrahma defended Robertson and Trent, teams are going to look at that and say that's how we do it. Like, fuck having your right and left back go and press Trent and Robbo, like what we see Man U done with Wan-Bissaka and Shaw and stuff. Keep them narrow as anything and have your wide players who work. I would love to know how much they ran that game because they were just workhorses. If I was to play against Liverpool, I would have my back four so narrow because Manny and Salah play narrow as fuck, and I'd have my right and left wingers and what West Ham done. Keep an eye on Robbo and Trent, and I thought, and everything is just so tight on that pitch. I thought they were fucking excellent, man.
I thought West Ham were, you text and said it, and I agreed with you. I mean, obviously bar, I thought I was really impressed with how City were when we played them. Obviously, it's not really, but I think this season West Ham are the team I've been actually most impressed with because of everything you just said, based off of the season. David Moyes, he's doing at West Ham what he did with Everton, but he seems to. I was intrigued to listen to his interview and stuff after, and they asked him, "Have you changed as a manager, or have you progressed and evolved?" And he says, "I don't think I've changed massively, but I've definitely had to think about what I used to do, and I've maybe tweaked it a little bit." And you can see that he's got same at Everton, a big, strong, physical team. Back in the day, probably not as tidy football because the pitches weren't the same and the football wasn't different. He's modernised his team. You look, mate. Let's be honest. I'm looking at it. At the start of the season, we all said top four: Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United. Whacked off. Still could be because they're probably the four best squads. But God, West Ham are up there challenging for that four. They've got to be.
Injuries could play a huge part in that.
Injuries hugely.
Bonner's gone.
Yeah.
Lucky Declan Rice is ill at the moment, but it's obviously going to miss rest. You get luck in seasons, right, with injuries and stuff. It's one of those where if you can keep everyone fit, 100% you'll be up there. It's so hard to keep everyone fit throughout a whole season, though.
Do you think Moyes was referencing his time at United when he said he was evolving? Like, I didn't see the interview. Like, how he evolved and changed the manager.
Did they? I can't remember.
Did they ask what? Sorry, what did you say?
He said that in the interview he said he'd evolved and adapted as a manager. Do you think he was talking about how he was at United as and he's changed since then, or is it?
I think the time at United definitely scarred him because he then went to Sociedad and did the Sunderland thing and was struggling a bit, and I think it clearly scarred him. Yeah. And probably was like, will I ever get to manage at that level again? There's certain people that suit certain things, and he suits being at West Ham and building and growing them and trying to push them as far as he can. And I'm sure if he heard this, he'd be like, I want to manage a team that would win the title. I'm sure he would do. But I don't know, he just suits it. It just seems to suit him. When you look at people and you're like, that totally makes sense. You're doing the right thing. You've built the team up. The team suits him. The player suits him. The people you've got behind him suit him.
But that's down to David Moyes though. You're saying that like. So this is what I don't really understand is when you say like.
The expectations then of the club.
Is when people say like certain managers suit certain clubs, right?
Klopp suits Liverpool. Klopp suits Dortmund.
Yeah, but do you not think if Klopp went...
That's easy to say because he's done well there, though.
No, but I kind of get stuck on this point because... Do you not think you could say that about any club, though? Do you think if Klopp went to West Ham and then he done his whole hoorah?
Does Solskjaer suit Man United?
Doesn't suit.
But like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean by saying. I think are you basing his style and his personality
Yeah,
on the club?
His style on it. There you go. His style and personality with the club.
But like,
I just think it's.
West Ham. Could he not do that at Man United right now?
I just think it's if you do well or not.
No, I don't know if you.
I agree with Matthew.
I don't really understand that point. People have been saying
certain-
that recently. I don't really get it.
No, I think certain clubs have a certain DNA.
Does Conte suit being at Tottenham?
I don't think he does suit being in Tottenham now.
For what reason? In what way? Does he not suit?
Because Tottenham's history is open, expansive football. They kind of got back to that with Poch, and it brought them back to life a bit.
Okay, but then
Because of success, you're going to say.
no, but how
Right.
successful has Spurs been with that style and that like?
They haven't. Well, they haven't.
They haven't been that successful.
Well,
What
chosen
they
in
got
Tasmania.
to Champions League final and stuff like. Could
Yeah.
work at some point, but if Conte comes in, totally changes
But
the
like
philosophy,
Conte
goes
suit-
defensive. Could he then suit Tottenham? And
But Conte suits like Chelsea though. Like Chelsea, in my mind, and probably for since this point, right? Because this is when they changed. Like Mourinho was the first man that came in, and the way he played was how he played. We all know he plays. So then look at the guys that have come in and done well. Tuchel plays in a little bit of a different way, but it's the same. It's tight. It's compact. It's not exactly like free flowing like open Man City Pep Guardiola football. It's compact. It just suits Chelsea.
I don't know. I just don't really know. I just don't really know if I agree with that or not. But I think it's more so where the club is at the time, also compared to the manager suiting the club. Like, I think you bring in a manager to try into a club,
Right.
you try and do it with the. Actually, no, I don't even know if it's that. I don't know. But with the point that you're saying there, I'm just not too sure if.
When Liverpool got Klopp, do you think they looked at his personality, his DNA, who he was, the style of football?
Yeah.
Thought this is what I want because he fits our city, he fits our town. Because I personally agree with you in the Klopp thing. He suits that city. He's like the working class city of the people, and then his style of football clearly works with the players.
Yeah.
But then. But surely the style of football suits the players he signed. He's signed out Robert.
But
he's got a trend.
the thing is, though, does that mean you can't? The thing is, does that then mean that you can't change your style and identity at a club to be successful? Because
No. For example.
so let's use Watford as an example, right?
Okay.
When you say a manager that suits a club, when you think of a manager, like what manager suits Watford for you?
Well, I don't know because they sack 10 managers a season, so I don't know. So that's not a very good example. But I'm not.
No, it's a great example because they can't.
I think you're more so
they can't find
because a
managers.
club, the previous managers or manager was successful with playing a certain way at that club.
Right.
Therefore, a manager
Yes,
that plays
yes,
that way has
yeah,
to go there,
yeah. So
which I disagree with.
So look, but okay. So put it. We're going down this road, right? So the reason Klopp suits Liverpool is because, and also to your guys' point about success is that if people talk about Liverpool and you go back that far and the Liverpool way, it's Shankly, and it's about the people and it's about the players work hard. Then you had Bob Paisley. Klopp is the same in that. Do you know what I mean? Klopp's the same. In
yeah,
that.
I'm not saying that's right. That's 100% right. Yeah.
Was Mourinho, how he played when he came in, and that kind of built, and then that just I don't know.
But the clubs get attached to that.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're getting in managers that try and do that, and sometimes you just can't do that again. Sometimes you just have to evolve from that and start a new legacy of how a club
Great
looks and
example for
plays.
you.
Definitely.
So then, Walter Smith when he was at Rangers, unbelievably successful. We got to see Europa League final playing the most defensive form of like so hard to break down, so defensive, and Rangers fans, well, that's great. Well, it was successful for us. He fitted Rangers, him as a personality, his style fitted Rangers, and now you bring it back to now where Gerrard's just gone. There's a totally different style of football, but he also suited Rangers. So there's a totally different style, totally different person.
Yeah.
But then also fitted it so well. Like they both seem like.
But then
manager.
he fitted, but his personality fitted Rangers though.
Okay.
So then his style. So if the manager, the team, and
You
the
can't get
club,
mixed up in their personality and style.
But your personality as a coach is literally the main point. That's the whole
And it
point.
gets reflected in your style.
That's the whole point. The team takes on the personality of the manager.
Yeah.
This is my big point, right? This is actually why I stopped coaching, because for me this isn't what it was about, and it's going this way, and you have to evolve. But everyone was so into tactics, and I love tactics and I love having that debate. But my big thing was more about putting your personality in and like understanding the game of like you've got to run and you've got to work hard and all those basic things, right? Like that to me is more crucially important than you being able to come in and to tactically coach and train players to be able to play in a 3-5-2 or a 4-3-3 or a 4-5-1. In my opinion, that doesn't really matter. My opinion, what matters is what's the personality of the team on the pitch. So, for example, that's my point, is like Liverpool, Klopp's personality on the pitch, the team has that personality, that suits the city of Liverpool. Gerrard's personality suited the city of Glasgow and Rangers. Tuchel's personality and what he wants to do suits the personality of what Chelsea has been since Abramovich and Mourinho. So that would be my point. Arteta, Arsenal like to play open, expansive, open football. Arteta wants to do that. That suits Arsenal. That would be my point. That would be my point on that. Obviously, we don't have to agree.
No, I'm
the
not.
whole point in having a podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one.
But then it's so easy to look at clubs that have been successful and done it and say they suit. But then, like, did Mourinho not suit Tottenham?
No, Mourinho. I don't. Could Conte win a trophy for Tottenham? Yes, I don't think that squad's good enough to win the league. If he wins the league with that squad, he should retire because I don't think it's good enough to win the league against the others and against the other managers out there.